Stormers with a well-deserved first ever win over Munster. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Both teams were looking to move the ball quickly in this one. Munster trying to go to width with some risky passes and probably trying to go out there a little bit too early as well. And there was a lot of risk in their game as well tonight. And it, in the end, didn't pay off for them. They're on attack in the 22. Crowley, he overruns Burns' pass. Then he tries to keep, the move going with an offload, but Hartenberg intercepts and he just goes the length of the field to score. Wilmsa converts for 7 points to 0. And again, that risky play from Munster leading to a score for the Stormers. Munster then, they work it back into the Stormers 22. They go left and then back over to right and they go to width to Haley, but then the pass is forward. Munster still forcing things, 2 passes to width, goes straight into touch. I think there was more after that as well in the game. Crowley then with a nice kick to space in the Stormers 22, and that was after like a decent kick from, I think it was it Hallant or Wilmsa, but decent kick from them. Then Crowley does well, kicks into space. Daly then gets down there and he charges down Wilmsa's attempted clearance. Zass does really well to come in and cover the loose ball to prevent the try, but then Munster, they counter ruck over the ball and Farrell is over to score. Conversion then makes it 7 points all. Stormers then pinged at the breakdown and then pulled up for interference in the air at the subsequent line-out, and Munster go to the corner. The throw goes over the top. Wilmsa gets to it first, and Stormers are out to kick clear. And Munster's set piece for most of the evening wasn't up to the standards you would expect from them. They really struggled in the scrum, and then the line-out wasn't as good as you'd want it to be. Munster though, they do win a penalty and a scrum. They kick back to the corner. Owen Clark, he's on for Scannell. I think it was an HIA. Finds his man in the line out. Maul set up well. They roll to the right and pass the Stormers' defence. And then Clark is over to score. Conversion gets missed by Crowley. Poor game from the tee from him. And overall, not his best game really for Munster. So it's 12 points to 7. Munster ahead. Stormers then win a scrum penalty of their own. Lots of backslapping after that one. And, you can feel that they're really up for this. They kick it to within 10 metres out from the line. Then they go off the top to Tienison. He carries well. They win a penalty. Ahern, he was told to leave it and he didn't. Quick tap and then Tienison forces his way over to score. Good low body position from him and really hard to stop from that distance. Wilmsa's conversion puts Stormers in front, 14 points to 12. Then another penalty as O'Donnell is pinged for changing his running line. Great kick puts Stormers right back into the corner. Set up them all. They're going forward. Then Morabe breaks off, but he drops the ball. Bit of a chance gone for them. Murray then does well to get the ball out of a retreating scrum and Munster able to clear it. Half time, 14 points to 12 to the Stormers. Scannell then, he's back on, pinged for playing the 9 at the start of the half. Stormers goes to the corner, line out a bit messy, but they manage to retain possession. Lockman gets pinged and we come back for the penalty after the move breaks down due to just a loose pass in the middle. Munster then contests the next line out and they drive the Stormers back, but some big carries from the forwards manage to suck in that defence. Then they go to width and superb hands all across the back line, and then Nell is over to score. Great conversion as well from Wilmsa, 21 points to 12, and Stormers just looking easily the better of the two teams at this point. Stormers then with a penalty advantage, more nice hands as they spread it wide. Advantage called over to get isolated, penalty to Munster, and Munster really haven't fired a shot at all in the second half. Munster then win a scrum penalty. Brock Harris gets pinged. They kick it up the line into the 22. Great defence though from the Stormers. First of all, they drive Farrell backwards from about 5 metres out, and then they force a knock on from Byrne. Then penalty to the Stormers at the scrum, and they're able to clear. Then we have a high tackle from Sandy on Crowley, and Munster have a line out in the 22. And you feel like they do need to score soon because they, as I said, haven't offered that much in the second half. Honestly, though, it was borderline on the high tackle. From the angles I saw, I thought, the tackle might have looked fine, and it might have been a penalty, but I'm guessing that the TMO had another angle where you could see that maybe the hit actually, initially I think it was either on the ball or on the shoulder, and then rose up towards the head. But from what I saw, it didn't look like it was a penalty. But Stormers then they do well to halt them all. Murray snipes, and then Munster go through the phases. Farrell goes close, then a lovely pass from Murray, flat, and skips a couple of players. Coombs then finishes from close range, as he so often does. Conversion makes it a 2-point game, 21 points to 19. Then penalty to Stormers. Coombs pinged for no clear release at the breakdown. Popped over by Willemse, and it's 24 points to 19. And Stormers just start eking it out from here. They work their way back up to the edge of the 22 a minute later, and Willemse lands a drop goal, and you feel like that's going to seal the win. We're going to got 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock, and it's 27 points to 19. And then Munster, they need to try and retain possession. And the reason why Stormers were able to get in position so quickly for that drop goal was because Crowley's restart didn't go to 10 metres. And then after the drop goal, his restart doesn't go to 10 metres either. So didn't learn his lesson from the first one. And it probably has happened before, but I can't remember certainly watching a game where that happened before. Munster then clock in the red to keep going from their own 22. They managed to win a penalty. They kick it up to just before halfway inside their own half. They're looking for some kind of score to try and get either a penalty would get them a losing bonus point, and a try would get them a losing bonus point and a try bonus point. But they're pushing it again, and almost inevitably that desire to get themselves a bonus point actually leads to a bonus point from the Stormers. Instead, Nell intercepts in the middle. I think maybe it was Burns' pass that he intercepted, but he's about 35 metres out. He goes over under the post. Willemse adds the extras for 34 points to 19, and that is full time. So let's have a quick look at the stats from the game as well. Let me just pull them up here. Apologies as well if you can hear some fireworks outside. Some of the local youths, I guess, have got their hands on some early Halloween fireworks. Right, so let me refresh this because the stats definitely aren't right, because it's telling me tries are 2 tries each, and that's not right. It's 4 tries to Stormers and 3 to Munster. So possession then, 45 for Stormers, 55 for Munster. That sounds like where it would have been maybe earlier in the game, but I think Stormers maybe evened up a little bit towards the end. So again, I don't know why the URC have such difficulty updating their stats after games, but clean break sends 7 for Stormers, 2 for Munster. Just more cutting edge for the Stormers. Defenders beaten 18 to 13, an offload 6 to 3, and some decent offloads from Stormers as well. To keep moves going. Offloads from Munster to 3. There was definitely. Let me think. So there was one poor one from Crowley that resulted in the first try of the game. And I'm pretty sure there was another poor one in there, and I can't think of what the third one was, but that might have been poor as well. Territory then, 61% for Stormers and 39% for Munster. So Stormers, playing a lot of the game in that Munster half and not really giving them many chances. Number of tackles, 123 to 96. Missed tackles, just 4 from the Stormers is really good. And then 7 from Munster. Tackle success then, 86% from Stormers, which doesn't add up properly, honestly. 75% from Munster. Again, it doesn't, like, the stats have to be wrong, honestly, because if Stormers are at 86%, that means they missed 14% of their tackles. And they made 123 tackles according to the stats, which means that they would have had to have missed somewhere around 17 or 18 tackles, not the 4 that they list. And then for Munster as well, if they were at 75%, then they would have missed 20 odd tackles and not the 7 that's listed. So stats definitely not right at this stage. Turnovers 1, it says 1 each. Kicks retained, it says 0-0. I know that's wrong because I remember Stormers doing really well to retain a couple of kicks. And then penalties, 4 penalties for Stormers, 3 for Munster. That's definitely not right because Munster conceded more penalties than that in the scrum through the game. So definitely not the right stats. And I mean, let me try one more time to refresh. Unfortunately, I can't wait any longer for them to update it because the Connacht Leinster game is going to be kicking off in a few minutes, so I won't have time. But apologies, but it's not my fault. It's URC's fault. And I've said it before. If you need someone who's going to plug in your stats or wherever in your website faster than whoever's doing it, give me the job. I'll definitely do it for you. But let's just have a quick chat about the two teams. So first of all, Munster, they're in the game on the scoreboard for most of it, but for me, they look second best for the majority of the game. They forced the play way too many times, too many, balls going to neck, going into touch, going behind the player, players getting isolated, too many errors really. Crowley, a rare poor game from him at 10. Normally you can, even when his pack are under pressure, he normally still puts in a decent shift. But I've got to be honest on that one. That was probably the poorest game I've seen him play for either Munster or Ireland. Scrum really struggled. They did win, 2 or 3 penalties at the scrum, but there weren't that many scrums actually completed in the game, and most of the ones that were completed were Munster going backwards. But they conceded a ton of scrum penalties, and line out was a little bit dodgy as well for them. They didn't compete as well at the breakdown as you normally see. We didn't see Byrne to the fore as when Munster are doing well at the breakdown. Byrne's blue cap is there and the whistle goes and they're getting penalties. Wasn't happening tonight. So really feel like they need to regroup from here because it's been 2 damaging defeats, really. The one against Leinster and then this one here for them. And they were kind of had mixed form anyway going into the Leinster game. So they need to pick up from here. It's a talented bunch of players, though. And, they have a lot of young players coming in to the team who are definitely going to contribute. But it feels like this team now needs to kind of settle again and kind of get a bit more consistency in their play. Stormers then, they combined a dominant scrum, strong carries in the forwards, aggressive defence, and then just slick passing in the backs as well. And it was just a well-deserved bonus point win for them. They climb off the foot of the table now, and you would expect them to continue on that upwards trajectory. Right, so that's the end of that one. Let me know what you think about the game down in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one.